Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. Have you ever been haunted by the memory of a woman who walked away, not out of weakness, but with quiet strength? Have you ever felt the weight of respect rise long after she was gone? In this powerful and emotional video, we explore why men often carry a deep, lasting respect for the woman who let them go. Not the one who clung, not the one who pleaded, but the one who understood her worth and released him with grace. We'll draw from history's great love stories, reflect on real emotional intelligence, and offer strong, life-changing advice for men seeking to understand love, loss, and masculine growth. Each chapter in this video will guide you deeper into the masculine heart, revealing why some losses leave permanent impressions, and how the right kind of woman leaves not bitterness, but honor in her absence. If you find value in this message, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Your engagement fuels the Stoic Golden Tribe and helps us keep building a brotherhood of purpose, strength, and truth. Now let's begin. Chapter 1. The quiet strength of letting go. In a world that glorifies control, silence often speaks the loudest. There is a rare kind of woman, a woman who, when faced with confusion, neglect, or disconnection, doesn't beg, doesn't cling, doesn't chase. She simply lets go. And in that quiet act, she becomes unforgettable. Men may not understand it in the moment, but as time passes, as emotions settle and noise fades, her strength becomes undeniable. Letting go is not weakness. It is the highest form of emotional intelligence. It is self-respect in motion. And a man, when he matures, begins to see it for what it truly was. Not abandonment, but dignity. History gives us countless examples of women who loved deeply, but walked away with grace when love was no longer honored. Take Josephine de Beauharnais, the first wife of Napoleon Bonaparte. She stood beside him as he rose from a military officer to the Emperor of France. She endured betrayals and pressure, yet loved him still. When Napoleon divorced her to pursue a political alliance, she let him go, not with bitterness, but with poise. And in the years after, as Napoleon faced his downfall and exile, he confessed that no woman ever matched Josephine. He never stopped loving her, because in letting him go, she kept her power. A woman who lets a man go does not hate him. She simply recognizes when her presence is no longer valued, and chooses to preserve her self-worth over her attachment. This is rare, and it commands respect. Men, this is where your growth begins. When you are young or emotionally unstable, you may interpret her departure as betrayal. But the truth is, if you were inattentive, avoidant, or careless, her walking away was not an act against you, it was an act for her. And that distinction is everything. A woman's decision to let go is often birthed from the deepest kind of pain, the pain of loving someone who no longer sees her clearly. But instead of manipulating or forcing connection, she steps away. She doesn't make noise. She doesn't try to prove her worth. She allows space, and in doing so, she reveals it. This is where a man's respect is born. In her absence, clarity enters. You begin to realize that silence isn't just an end, it's a mirror. It reflects the version of yourself that she had to walk away from. And when that mirror is clean, you're faced with a choice: evolve or repeat. Letting go is power. And a man who understands this kind of power will carry a lifelong reverence for the woman who showed it, because he will come to see that love without control is the most mature form of love there is. Let's be clear, not every woman who walks away deserves praise. Some walk away from responsibility, accountability, or loyalty, but we're not talking about escape. We're talking about a sacred kind of departure, a departure rooted in quiet truth, in strength, and in grace. This kind of woman doesn't weaponize her leaving. She doesn't burn bridges. She doesn't gossip. She simply exits the space where she was no longer seen. And in that act, she becomes more visible than ever. To the men listening, if a woman let you go and did so with dignity, don't disrespect her in your memory. Honor her. Let that loss make you stronger. Let it shape the way you love the next woman, with more presence, more clarity, more truth. Because here's the truth. Men grow when they lose something real. And the woman who let you go may be the one who showed you what real love felt like, by no longer giving it to the version of you that didn't deserve it. Chapter 2. Why respect grows. After she's gone. Respect doesn't always come in the moment. Sometimes it's only born in reflection, in the silence after her footsteps fade, in the moments when you realize she was never trying to control you. She was trying to love you. And when she finally let go, not with drama but with dignity, she did what many couldn't. She honored herself, and unknowingly taught you to do the same. In youth, many men misunderstand love. They confuse loyalty with possession. They think if a woman stays no matter what, it proves her love is real. But the truth is more complex. A woman's love is proven not just by how long she stays, but by how well she leaves when her worth is no longer seen. There's something deeply unsettling for a man when a woman walks away quietly. Not out of anger, not out of manipulation, just stillness, followed by distance. That silence forces you to confront something you may not have been ready for, yourself. This moment of realization has echoed throughout history. Consider Leo Tolstoy, the great Russian author. In his private journals, he often spoke of his first love, a woman named Valeria Arsenyeva. She left him early in his youth after growing tired of his recklessness and emotional immaturity. He never forgot her. Decades later, as he wrote Anna Karenina, a tragic story of love and loss, he confessed that his characters were shadows of the pain he carried from losing Valeria. She had walked away, and he respected her more for it than any woman who stayed and tolerated his lesser self. Men often remember the one who left, not because she hurt them, but because she refused to let them hurt her any longer. This is where emotional intelligence enters. As a man grows, he starts to understand love, not as control, but as responsibility. He begins to realize that leadership in a relationship isn't about dominance, but about presence. And when a woman lets go, it's often because the man she loved stopped showing up emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. When she walks away, she sends a silent message. I loved you enough to stay. I love myself enough to leave. And that cuts deeper than any insult ever could, because it doesn't attack you, it awakens you. It's in her absence that her standards start to make sense. You begin to replay her words, the ones you dismissed, the ones you laughed off. You remember the way she asked for more, not material things, but depth, clarity, truth. And suddenly you see that her departure wasn't sudden. It was slow, patient, earned. A gentle warning given over time, ignored again and again until she finally decided to honor her own voice. That's when respect starts to grow, quietly, internally. It's not forced, it's not loud, it's just a slow realization that she was right to leave, that she was rare, that she didn't leave to punish you, she left to protect her peace. And now you see the difference between women who chase comfort and women who choose character. Letting her go didn't make her weak. Staying would have. And in hindsight, you begin to understand just how much strength it takes for a woman to walk away from someone she loves just because she knows she deserves more. This kind of realization turns boys into men because it invites you into maturity. It challenges your ego. It refines your heart. You may not love her anymore. You may never see her again. But the impact she left, the way she walked away, that lives in your mind long after the emotions fade. And whether you admit it or not, a part of you honors her. So to every man who's lost a woman who left with grace, ask yourself, did you become better because of her? Did her absence sharpen your vision? Did her silence echo loud enough to awaken your masculinity? If so, then give her respect. Not because she was perfect, but because she chose herself when you stopped choosing her. And in doing so, she showed you what self-worth really looks like. Chapter 3. The woman who walks away changes the man who stays. There's a shift that happens in a man when a woman leaves him with grace. Not in rage, not in scandal, not in public spectacle, just quiet, confident distance. And whether he wants to admit it or not, that departure begins to transform him. Slowly, deeply, permanently. The woman who walks away doesn't just vanish from his life. She stays, not physically, but in memory, in reflection, in the way she made him feel, and in the man he starts becoming after she's gone. At first he may try to suppress the sting, he may rebound, distract, deny. But over time her absence starts to work like fire, burning away the falsehoods, the justifications, the pride, and what's left is truth. There's a reason men often start leveling up after a breakup with a woman of high standards. Her departure becomes a mirror, showing him everything he wasn't. She didn't scream for him to change. She simply removed herself, and that stillness spoke louder than words. History gives us the story of F. Scott Fitzgerald and Ginevra King, his first and deepest love. She was a refined, brilliant woman from a wealthy family, and Fitzgerald, though deeply in love, didn't yet have the character or stability to keep her. She eventually moved on. Years later, as Fitzgerald became a literary giant, he confessed that Ginevra haunted nearly all his female characters. The elegance with which she left stayed with him far longer than any romance he had after. Her absence shaped his artistry, sharpened his focus, and humbled his pride. Because the right kind of loss can grow a man in ways success never will. That's what a powerful woman does when she walks away. She invites you, without asking, to become more. She exposes the gap between who you were and who you could have been. And if you're wise, you don't resent her for it. You thank her. Because even in walking away, she gave you a gift, the gift of perspective. This is where emotional maturity begins. For many men, it takes losing a woman of worth to finally see the flaws in their own leadership. The passivity, the emotional neglect, the fear of commitment, the self-centeredness. She didn't abandon you, she just stopped participating in her own mistreatment. And you know what's powerful? The very things she asked of you while she was with you. Consistency, depth, honesty, presence. Those are the very traits you begin to develop after she's gone. It's a strange irony. She helped raise the man she never got to have. The woman who walks away changes the man who stays. She teaches him that love is not guaranteed, that good women are not forever, that you can lose something valuable, not because it was broken, but because you failed to protect it. And once that realization sinks in, men begin to see love differently. They stop treating it as something they're entitled to. They start treating it as something sacred. This is the foundation of masculine growth, Because real masculinity isn't just strength or power, it's responsibility. It's being aware enough to recognize when your presence was no longer enough to keep her, and being mature enough to not blame her for walking away. To every man who has been shaped by a woman's departure, understand this: you may never get her back, and maybe you shouldn't, but you can take what her absence gave you and use it to become the kind of man who never loses a woman that way again. Because the truth is, she didn't just walk away, she left a legacy, one that lives in your growth, your evolution, your emotional intelligence, and for that, even in her absence, she deserves respect. Chapter 4. Respect her. Learn. Grow. Let her go. There comes a moment, after all the emotions settle, after the pride dissolves, and after the silence stretches long enough, when a man is faced with the truth. The relationship is over. She's not coming back. And the only question that remains is, what will you do with what she left behind? If she let you go with grace, if she walked away with quiet dignity, she did more than leave. She offered you a final, unspoken invitation to learn, to grow, and to become the kind of man she once believed you could be. This is where healing becomes transformation. Not every breakup has to end in bitterness. Not every woman who walks away is your enemy. In fact, the right kind of woman will leave you a better man, not by force, but by reflection. That's why men respect the woman who lets them go, because over time, her absence becomes a compass. It points to all the areas where you once fell short and invites you to rise. This concept is deeply rooted in biblical truth. In the book of Proverbs 27:6, it says, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful." Sometimes the most faithful thing someone can do is walk away when love has become misused. It hurts, but it heals, because it forces us to confront who we were and choose who we want to become. And here's the deeper truth: a woman who knows her worth and walks away when it's no longer honored isn't just powerful, she's rare. And men who encounter her, even if they lose her, are never quite the same. Throughout history, some of the greatest men were shaped by loss. They didn't allow it to break them. They used it to build themselves. Like Winston Churchill, who once fell deeply in love with a woman who rejected his proposal. That heartbreak left him crushed, but it also fueled his transformation. He poured himself into his life's mission, sharpened his focus, and became a man of resilience. In his later years, he wrote that her rejection was the making of him. The woman who lets you go gives you the gift of contrast. You get to see what it looks like when someone loves you, but refuses to stay where they aren't cherished. That contrast sharpens your standards, both for yourself and the next woman who enters your life. So what do you do now? Respect her. Don't tarnish her name. Don't tell your ego-soaked version of the story. Learn. Own your mistakes. Sit with the pain. Let it grow you. Grow. Read more. Reflect more. Build your character and presence, and let her go. Don't chase shadows. Don't cling to a chapter that has closed. Carry the lesson, not the ghost. Because when you can let her go, truly let her go with honor, gratitude, and growth, you don't just become a man she could have respected. You become a man you can respect. And that is the true win. If this message spoke to your heart, if you've ever lost a woman who walked away with dignity, and you finally see the wisdom in her goodbye, then it's time to elevate your life, your mindset, and your masculinity. If you found value in this video, like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Let us know your story, let us know how you've grown, and join this movement of modern men choosing wisdom over ego and honor over control. Until next time, stand tall, lead with truth, love with strength, and always respect what you've lost by becoming what you were meant to be.